Hey guys, it's Chris, and this episode of the Mechanics Mike podcast is being sponsored by Ace Truck Body and Trailer Repair. If you're driving a truck in the heavy-duty diesel industry and are looking for repairs, we have you covered from engine to body and even your trailer under one roof. Is that lift gate giving you trouble and need somewhere to get it fixed? We service and repair most lift gates and trucks and trailers. Our service and parts department are here to serve you from 7:30 to 4:30, so give us a call if you're in the Norcross area, 770-447-8434. And thanks to Jamie Cole and her staff for sponsoring this episode.
We're talking about how to do it wrong. We're talking about how to do it right. We're talking about it on the Mechanics Mic. What's that? What's that? On the Mechanics Mic. Welcome to the Mechanics Mic.
But what were you working on today?
Today I was working on this it was a KW. It's a cab.
Yeah. Oh, were you working on that cab?
Yeah.
Was that T680?
Yeah, that one.
That thing was really ripped down. Like you had that thing in pieces.
Yeah. So surprising how you can take something apart.
Yeah, just see how the factory did it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's amazing.
that's crazy. Hey,
yeah,
what got you? What? I'll go with you first. What got you here?
Well, I was doing a little bit of like automotive body work, you could say.
Yeah.
Before.
Right on.
So I guess you could say I was a little bit of like familiar with somewhat of like the body shop and whatnot, and then but just one time came by and just saw all the 18 wheelers outside the trucks, and I don't know, just something just kind of like pulled my attention. I was like, hey, like give it a shot.
Why not? Right? Because
Why
it all translates.
Yeah,
It's just it's more fiberglass now than actual metal. You know, you're tearing noses off because most of this stuff, when it gets smacked up, it's usually in the front. You know, you don't see too many rear end collisions.
yeah, you really,
Because it's either got a trailer on it or it's got an ICC in the back or something. So
yeah.
yeah, you're gonna see a lot of fiberglass.
So that and I surprisingly I like it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, it's not a bad industry to be in.
No,
I mean, James, how did you come about just coming around here?
I was working for a polishing industry before I came here, and just looking for something new, something to get my hands on, get out of the polishing industry, because that stuff can get dirty. Not that this doesn't get dirty, but face down in aluminum shavings and all that stuff all day. I just
Yeah, it'll turn you a color, man. Especially You start changing rouges and you're cutting aluminum, making it shine. Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun, and I enjoyed it. It was a nice little end product, mirror finish. But I had a friend, AJ. He turned me onto this place, and I just started here, taking out trash and washing trucks, and that's how I ended up here at Ace personally, and started to see what body technicians were doing, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. It just captured my interest, and so I started staying after work and doing fiberglass here and there, and doing a little bit of welding here and there, and moved my way up to the prep shop, invested more time, more tools, started buying a lot more tools.
Yeah. And as I see,
here I am today, full-fledged body tech. So it's been a journey.
So were you actually in any other shops before this, or
I have no experience doing anything in this kind of industry.
So this was your first?
My first.
Your first? Wow.
Yep.
And you came from physically just, hey man, I'm here, I'm taking out trash, sweeping floors, to now you're swapping cabs, doing wiring harnesses.
Yep. Like I said, it caught my interest, and I ran with it. So
that's awesome. That really is awesome. So, tell me, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with the future? Is this?
Ideally, I'd like to retire with Ace.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
I've heard that for many people coming from different shops, the shop is like nothing else, and that's out there, and you feel like a family here. And I don't wake up one day dreading coming in. If anything, I'm excited. I might be a little late sometimes, but can't predict traffic. But Yeah, I do apply my knowledge and skills outside, because I have a boat in the marina. So
Right.
working with fiberglass, I do apply that to things outside of work. But as far as daytime job, I would like to retire here.
So at the marina, you have a boat.
Yeah, it's a 27 Catalina sailboat.
Oh, right on.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long you been sailing for?
about almost 8 years now. So I've actually lived aboard for about 6 years on and off. So it was cheap, but hadn't really
Like
nowhere else
literally
to go.
pulled up to the marina, parked your car, get out
Yeah.
in the boat for the night, and just chilled out there. And
Yeah, I lived a retired life for 6 years.
Wow.
In the prep base, so I wasn't making the funds I have now. So it really wasn't a strain because I could go home and vacation every day, and
Yeah.
I made it work. So
What's something that when you got here and you started working with trucks, with the in the heavy industry, what was that one job that just you never thought you were going to get through it, but you end up getting through it?
there's been multiple of those. I'd say probably my first big cab swap was very intimidating. I didn't know what to expect. I had to strip the whole thing down, dash and everything. I think it was a Kenworth.
That's
I think it was a Kenworth.
yeah.
Massive. Dash and everything had to come out. It was a sleeper, of course. So, and I've done like panel jobs and your fiberglass, sweat and fenders, welding frames, blah blah blah. But I'd say that one was the most intimidating. Especially put the new cab on. He's like, "You fuck it up, that's on you, man."
Yeah. Dude, you must have had like tape, labels,
Oh, I
bags,
labeled
boxes.
every hose, every electrical connection. It went from A to Z, 1 to 200. You name it.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
You got everything in the sleeper's got to come apart. You got all the plastic has to come apart, and you got to
yeah,
pray you don't break any of the tabs that that hold
exactly.
those horrible panels back on, because they don't put all the
Exactly.
they don't invest high quality stuff. So you break it taking
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even to this day, and probably to the day that I retire, I'll always label my stuff, because even though I've done it so many times, I'm not going to trust myself to be like, yeah, okay, this is the exact one, so that's where it's going. Because, again, there's just so much to keep track of.
When was that? When did you do that? When was that first cap?
4 years ago, maybe. 4 years ago. And I've only been full-fledged body man for about 5.
So you had who was helping you with it?
I think it was Steve. You remember Steve Jones? He was the guy before Ashley.
Ah.
So he was helping me get through it, and I wouldn't give this to you if I didn't think you could do it.
Right,
Prove
right.
yourself within the year that you've been here. You've overcome a lot of things. So this is going to be your first big job. Take care of this. You're basically on your way to your A10.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That was before I did any kind of plug welding for 22 gauge steel. That was the next big thing. Put me at the top, feeling comfortable. I can tackle anything at that point.
Tear it down and weld it back together again.
It's not hard stuff. It's just time consuming.
Yeah. You've done a couple cab swaps, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I've probably done maybe like 3. Started with my first one was an Isuzu box truck,
Oh, an NPR.
NPR. Yeah, that was my first one.
Those are awkward.
Yeah,
Those are really awkward
Yeah,
to
just-
actually, because they tilt forward and you gotta
Yes.
balance them taking them off, and
Yes, that was
the wiring's all in the front.
On the
yes.
grounds.
Yeah, hold up
Yes.
to thousands of grounds the way
So-
those things are set up.
But it is ideal to mark everything, and that's just gonna make your job so much easier.
Yeah, you have to have a process.
Mhm.
You find a process,
Yes.
and
If you have to run a checklist, that's whatever makes it work. As long as you know that it's gonna work for you, it's gonna make you feel comfortable and know that the job itself is gonna be a finished product. It's gonna be finished with everything back where it belongs.
yeah, right on.
Yeah, so-
Right on. Oh, that's sweet, man. So what else? I know you get a kind of a sweet 240. I see it come rolling in every once in a while. Seeing as you came from the auto industry,
Yeah.
moved over to big trucks. It looks like you brought kind of a love with you
Yeah.
over this way. And I mean, I know that was quite the project car for you.
Yes. So yeah, to have a little 240 that I kind of invest my time in it and whatnot, and it's like something I guess on my downtime I like to I guess trick out and hopefully hit the drift track sometime.
Yeah, man, it
But
sounds awesome. Every time I hear you leaving the parking lot, I'm like, guys, hey, Rob, it's like, there he goes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit more about it.
Well,
What's the
shoot,
setup?
right now it's mainly like stock.
Yeah.
I did a lot of like porting to the intake manifold side of so I pretty much opened up the intake side, the exhaust side on the head, and then poured it out to match the gasket.
Yeah,
And
got a match port. I understand,
match port,
absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, you get your flow.
Yeah, I got a little bit of airflow on it. Just minor suspension upgrades. That thing
It sits pretty low.
sits
I seen
low.
it. I think
The
that thing's
frame
smashed
is
down
about
there.
an inch and a half off the ground, like the whole frame down. So did that. I got just future plans is to hopefully turbo it.
Oh hell
So
yeah! Oh hell yeah!
I'm around a whole bunch of turbos here, so just to have a little sound of my own in my car should be amazing.
Right on, yeah, man.
And
I love it. I love it.
so there's future plans, and just I like how I can kind of be around like just trucks, cars, everything. Is just
Yeah, it's a good blend.
It's a good
It's a good blend. I came from kind of the same thing. I had an automotive background. I started to date myself, 1993. I graduated, and the day after I got my diploma, I was in a shop. I was changing tires. I was tire tech. Started at the bottom. I was a C tech, or however you want to
call it.
Yeah, just doing tires, and I was reliable, so they sent me to school. I went to alignment school for a week in New York. It was sweet, and I kind of thought I was awesome when I got back. I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I got the skill. I know what I'm doing. I got back. They gave me a CJ7, and I'm you know me. I'm originally from Boston, so I'm in the Rust Belt. They gave me this CJ7, and nothing moved. I had the torches out. I had these gigantic wrenches with pipes on them, and I'm trying to move. It took me over 2 hours to get the front tie rod to move. And the guys wait in the waiting room. My boss comes out. I thought you went to school for this, and I'm like, I did, but I didn't go to school for frozen shit. I was getting pissed. Oh, I was so mad. And it was just like I was hitting frustration, and the guy that normally ran the alignment rack was just like, he's smoking a cigarette by the door, going, "You got this, huh? You all right, kid? You good, huh?" They just between him giving me shit behind me, my boss in front of me, and the guy in the waiting room looking at me like, "What's he doing to my Jeep?" And I'm like, hanging on this pipe, like almost there. I'm like waiting for the toe to go green. Oh my god, yeah, that I got humbled really quick. You get into them situations where it's something. It's like yeah, and all of a sudden you're like, you get a humbling situation.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a few vehicles that have come through here. You're just like, all right, it's cool.
Yes.
You learned a few things on.
But it's good though in a way. It always keeps you open to learn.
Yeah.
To just there's maybe different ways of like doing certain things.
Right on. Yeah. So, have you ever run into one of them moments?
Yes. I've sometimes surprisingly I spent maybe 20-30 minutes so focused on trying to get like a bolt loose or something, and I sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I don't know what to do. I got to step away for a second, and sometimes it's not even me that comes back and fixes it. I'll end up getting my coworker, my friend,
Right
James.
on.
But hey,
Yeah,
man, he'd come look at this one, and then he'd be like, "Oh, hey, do it this way, do it that way." Boop, boop. I'm
Yeah,
like,
comes
"Ah,
apart.
dude," you know, and it just shows you that sometimes you don't know everything. You know, there's a lot of ways to certain things, and getting advice or getting it, looked at from somebody else always helps.
I just had a vehicle today. I have a USPS in my bay right now. I got it all put back together again. It was crashed. I mean, you know how the U.S.
Yeah,
Postal Service does it. They crash them. They crash them.
yeah,
They're really good at that.
The step trucks.
The tractor.
Oh, the tractor.
It's a
Okay.
tractor. So it's an MV A26 engine. And all together, got it running, all the fluids, got it up to temperature, threw it into gear. Nope. Not going to move. Not going forward. All right. Now I've had this in that bay and I've been on and off looking at it. I got J Pro out there. I got Texon. And I'm going back and forth. And I'm like, oh, it's got an Allison transmission. I'm like, all right, let me get in. Let me get the Allison program fired up and go through it. I'm going to check all the parameters and I'm checking everything. And I'm like, this thing is electronically locked out. I'm like, post office. Wait a minute. It's got to have something like a program or so they don't want anyone driving their vehicles. I'm like going through it and I spent probably all together, like 3 or 4 hours on this thing trying to get it moving. And then I'm like, I got to call someone. Quick phone call. Hey, did you put the seatbelt? What? Did you put the seatbelt on? No. Go click the seatbelt. I went and clicked the seatbelt right into gear.
whoa,
And I'm like, you've got
whoa.
Safety feature.
I'm like, you're like, oh, you want to hit the roof. It's like something so simple. I mean, the seatbelt's orange and it's right there. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're going to wear a seatbelt. And it's like, yeah, it's disables. It disables the transmission if the seatbelt is not connected.
Wow.
And I was like,
safety features.
Yep.
and I'm like, I should know better. Totally know better. And I'm like, it's those little moments where you're like, I'm going to find this,
Yeah.
and then there's like, hey, you connect the seatbelt? No, all right. Oh,
That's something that's more common in like the newer trucks, though, right? 'Cause
yeah.
the older trucks didn't really have that kind of stuff implemented, or have they? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think-
There's actually a few companies that actually do it, and the giveaway should have been the orange seatbelt. Because a lot
Instead
of
of
I know a
black.
lot of trash trucks, they have orange seatbelts. One, it's because they want to be able to see it on the camera facing the
Yeah.
driver,
Mm.
and it's
Yes,
highlighted, so they
yes,
want to be able to see
yes.
it. DOT wants to see it rolling down the road. They want to see that orange view, but also it's part of that electronic system. So whoever implements the safety systems, the Samsara or whatever system you have implemented in the car, the truck, it knows seatbelts on. But USPS, those guys, unless it's hooked up, transmission's not going into gear. You're not getting it into gear. I mean,
good to know.
Wow.
I
Next
was
time I can't jump a truck off,
Yeah.
I'm gonna click my seatbelt.
it ran, it started. I just couldn't. It wouldn't go into gear. I pushed the brakes in. I thought maybe the parking brake. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it won't get it. The parameters. One parameter is not being met somewhere. All right, I'm going to find it. It's in there. It's electronic. I'm going to find it. Yeah, that one parameter. I was right. It was electronic.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was a seatbelt.
Wow.
Oh man, that was. I gotta say that was quite a humbling experience.
Oh,
How about you, James?
yeah. I think we all remember the RS Andrews job that I had. After doing a whole bunch of 22 gauge steel plug welds and multiple panels from the Sprinter vans or the Transit vans and cab swaps, I'm thinking I'm top shit. That humbled me really quick. The whole side had to be taken out, dash, everything.
What truck was that?
Remember the RS Andrews? I can't remember the type.
Was it a G series? Was
Yeah.
it a G series? That was
It
a
was.
G series
It
van,
was,
wasn't it? It was a Chevrolet G series
Yeah.
van. Yeah, cab
Corner
chassis
panel.
with a box on the back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Corner panel, aperture, fender apron, a little bit of the firewall. Whole front end had to come off. Pretty much everything except for fan hub back.
right.
Like I said, all the interior had to come out. It was just a nightmare. And then of course waiting on the parts, mirror matching the parts, test fitting the parts, having to go to the parts room and be like, no, this is the wrong part. And then throughout this whole time, it's sitting there for like 2 to 3 months, hoping I remember how to put all this stuff back together. Thankfully, it did all go back together, and it ran fine. All the body gaps were great, but it was humbling because I cussed a lot throughout that project.
That's the toughest part. Now,
Yeah.
I have to say, waiting on parts. Now, I know when we went through COVID, we had like a parts shortage.
Yeah.
And waiting for it, and then having something come through where it's wrong. I got a great example. I have a 2017 3500 in my bay right now. It was crashed. The axle was hit from underneath it, so we got a GM axle, and I put a new axle underneath this thing, and I got it all assembled, gear trains all in it and everything, and I went to put the rear disc brake assembly up on it, and I couldn't slide it over on the axle. And I'm like, oh, I'm not lined up. The bearings aren't lined up properly, so I, put the heavy ass thing back down on the ground. And I take one of the old bearings, because I had to replace all the bearings on the inside of this thing, and I fit it over the axle, and it wouldn't physically go over its own area. And I'm like, what? And my brain was just like,
Yeah.
what happened?
What's going on?
What just happened? I got my micrometer out. Come to find out, the passenger side is 20 thousandths bigger than the driver's side because it was not machined correctly. Like a one-off piece.
You were talking about this yesterday.
It's a one-off thing.
What?
Just the passenger side. Only the passenger side. Driver's side is absolutely fine. Bearings go on. Everything is fine. Passenger side, the outer bearing race area, the inner bearing race area, and the seal area are all 20 thousandths bigger. Like the axle belongs on something else, and they put it on, or when they were machining the axle down, or however they do it over there at GM, they just didn't. The guy doing the right side, it must have been the 5 o'clock on a Friday part.
Wow.
Missed it. He was like, "Gotta go home, beer 30, gotta get out of here."
What?
And
Zero
yeah, and just didn't hit the button to go another 20 thou on each area. So I'm like, now what? Now what do I do? I have a rear end that's all together in the truck. All I had to do is put rotors on it. And I think this is one of the dilemmas we're having in the industry right now is not just waiting for parts, and our vehicles are stalled in our bays, but it's like, who's paying me to take it apart now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the customer's not going to eat it. It's an accident, so it's on the insurance company. The part was wrong by General Motors, so it's not up to our business owner to pay me to take it back apart again, unless they're going to, GM's like, well, we messed it up, or hey, how come you didn't check that? When you check in your parts, and you're not going to look at that thing and go, is that thing 20 thousandths off? You can't. You don't know.
Usually why they have QCs at factories before they leave.
Thank you. And it's like, where's the quality control on parts that are hitting the industry? I mean, I run into.
It's a huge problem, man. I mean, just to your point, like who's responsible for just eating that,
Right?
Or calling the customer, who is the most important thing or aspect of this industry. Because if we don't have our customers, we don't have work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's true.
Who's now liable to call them and calm them down or let them understand, especially with trucks, to explain to them, hey, you're not going to be able to make any money because of problem ABC. Like it's a huge problem, man.
We have a brand new Isuzu NPR in the bay. It's actually in my bay. The lift gate from the factory from Walco is broken. Walco says, I'm not going to be able to get that rail to you for a month and a half. So this guy can't drive his truck for a month and a half until that rail comes in. If it's a warranty, it's brand new. I would take one apart and be like, oh my God, our customers are so important.
Yes.
I need to get this rail to them ASAP. And this is where it makes the shop look bad. It's like, hey, where's my truck? Well, we're waiting on parts. What do you mean you're waiting on parts? They don't want to hear that.
No.
They don't want to hear that I'm making payments on a brand new Isuzu NPR.
That can't be driven.
And it can't be driven for a month and a half. There's nothing wrong with the truck. The truck be able to do its job. It's waiting on these parts and pieces. I mean, How many times have you got something that's supposed to be threaded and there's no threads in it? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like,
A lot. Or have inserts and the inserts.
Yeah,
are
and
there.
then-
Yeah,
Not that
right.
that's a huge problem because I mean we can do the inserts ourselves, but still it's that extra
Yeah.
little.
it's
step.
an easy fix. You can get through it, and you're
Yeah.
like, all right, we're just either get another one if there's a bag of them, you go through there,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
put some threads in them yourself, and call it a day. But it's those little steps, and I really feel like it's quality control in a lot of parts, but that also runs into the getting cheap parts. And
yeah.
so if you're not getting brand name parts, and we think getting brand name parts always solves our issues, it's not always the case. We're finding out that I found out 20,000 off on an axle. I'm stuck now. That thing's stuck in my bay. I got that other truck stuck in my bay. Now the whole length, I have 2 trucks back to back stuck in a bay. That bay is not making money for my shop right now.
Wasted real estate.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck waiting for quality control to come through on 2 business ends. Like, what do I do now? So I got to work around it. It's crazy to see that. I feel like it's kind of just the most prevalent thing in the industry. It's
Yes.
crazy waiting on parts, and it's not our parts guys' fault.
I mean they're ordering the right thing, and I mean even down if it isn't a QC problem, the next biggest problem is packaging and picking in the warehouse.
Yeah.
How many times have you had a box where it's the right part, right label, but the part that's actually in the box is the other side?
Right.
That's the wrong
Yeah.
side.
A left or a right,
Yeah.
like a headlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Left or right. I mean, it's other than quality assurance, it's I guess not the skill, but the effort that's being put into the workforce inside the warehouse, whether it's unsatisfied pay or maybe this person just had a bad day, whatever it is. Still, and it's not up to me to say like, oh, do your job better. But
Yeah, it comes down.
It's from something that starts such a small trickle. When it gets to this issue, that I'm having a bad day, I'm just going to put this in a box, has now created this just maelstrom of problems.
Right.
Not just for us, the company, but people making money, needing their trucks back. I mean, think about how much money they're losing a day.
Yeah.
It's
Especially if it's an owner operator.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
we're
even
working in the heavy industry. I came from, I was a son in a trucking company, and when my truck left and went to the dealership, I didn't have a scanner back then to find out my own codes, and I knew I was having regen issues. Like, all right, I'm going to drop it off. I'm going to power wash it first to make sure the area they're working on is nice and clean. Send the truck over to them. I'd be handing them over the keys like, done yet? I want my truck back. My truck was $5,000 to $7,000 a week profit, and my dad was losing that kind of money, and it sucked. Or he would be like, "Well, jump in the old Mac over there and hammer down, kid." And I'm like, oh, chasing the bulldog's ass. That expression from looking at the bulldog on the hood.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. Did that for years, but yeah, I'd have to say a lot of quality control in parts, and I think we're having a kind of a labor shortage as well.
That's something that I think we have all collectively in this industry have noticed and are experiencing is a very significant gap between estimations that are given out to customers and the promised project time of that completion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and harp on the book because they're listening right now, but something that was written however long ago. I'm not really up to date on when the latest Michelin book was written, but it's what y'all and I talk about all the time. And correct me if I'm wrong, but and we've talked about it too. It's all the unknowns, like down to the rust.
Yeah,
a bolt doesn't come on. Might pay 2 hours to put on a new bumper, but I mean, last time I checked, it wasn't unicorns and rainbows in my world. So,
that's for sure.
It's something that I think that us collectively as an industry should unite and address that variable problem too.
Yeah,
because we're all suffering for it. Again, going back to the most important thing is the customers are suffering now too, because they're given a promise date. And I know that unknown things aren't always going to be prevalent, but if we can start adding that what if in time,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, as a customer, wouldn't it be nicer to see a bill that's cheaper than you thought you were going to pay because those unknowables weren't taken into consideration? Again, this
Right.
is just a quote
Right.
estimation. It's not a final bill.
Right.
You get the bill, let's say you were expecting to pay $2,000. I know that sounds low, but
Yeah. For
hypothetically
instance.
speaking. And then you come and only pay $1,500. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I don't know, what do you think, Al? Was it
No, yes,
anything else
that's I could agree totally with that. That sometimes we're running into situations where, like he says, the book says this, the book says that. I understand, but it's not a book doing the work. It's someone, human
Yeah.
being, running into certain little problems. And if it did pay 2 hours, but you spend at least 30 to 40 minutes trying to get a bolt out, that goes most of your time right there. And that's taking it off. If you have to break it down, use half of the bumper and unite it with a new part and then put it back in and all that. It's just,
And
I
this-
think,
there's no time.
Mhm.
There's also no time written in your estimation for
Exactly.
accessories. Like you got a cattle catcher on the front of a 379 or a 389. It's like, all right, well, how much time do you want to take it off? Well, I've never taken one off before. I don't know what it takes. Just it's going to take what it's going to take. No, I need an estimate. All right, 4 hours. Oh, 4 hours? You can't get through that in 4 hours? Well, you don't know if the guy before you was
Yeah.
just like, hey, screw this, I'm going to put it on with an impact gun and cross-thread everything on
yes,
it, You don't know if you're going to break the bolts, and,
Yeah.
and you have to get the specific length that goes through the bumper or
Yeah.
take the bump. It's replacing the bumper, so it's not
Yes.
just an hour or 0.5 to take a bumper off like on an M2.
yeah,
Blast 4 bolts, things on the ground. It's
Mhm.
you see these big trucks, all the accessories come through. Well, you got to take all the accessories off.
Yeah,
And
the headache rack. That
the
you
header
just did.
rack, yeah,
All
Yeah.
this wiring, all
Yes.
this
Yeah,
stuff. It's like
you got
have
all
to,
the lights in
change
it, reverse
everything.
lights, spotlights.
yeah,
Plus, if it's filled with chains and all kinds of other garbage in there, and that's leaked on to where you have to work, you got to clean all that out.
Yes.
yeah.
You
Or
get it-
like that truck the truck that went off road that you and I worked on.
That was
just-
LT International.
yeah.
Yeah, the
It's
tractor.
like, oh, just remove the interior, along with all this guy's garbage.
Yeah,
Not
it's
hating on the
filled
driver.
full of crap.
But man, it's like,
It's a lot of stuff. It's more so than we got to
You like break out the gloves. I think I got my tetanus shot.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you're like, full of
hazmat
crap.
suit.
Yeah, right. It's like some of that crap's like, oh, I can't believe you drove this thing. Like you touch the steering wheel, you're like, ugh.
Yeah,
I
You
need
know,
to see this guy's home, man.
I think I think the worst steering wheels in the world are moving trucks.
Oh,
They're-
yeah.
They keep the bottle of sanitizer up, and they're like,
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all sticky.
Yeah.
right? I do not get in any of those trucks without gloves. Like brand new
No.
pair of gloves, and just like any, you're like, that's black.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's nasty.
Melted rubber.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Oh, it can be a struggle when you're working on them things, but yeah, I think it's so funny. No matter what industry you're in, there's always those struggles.
Yes.
Whether you're in automotive, whether
Yeah.
whether you're in the heavy duty diesel industry, whether you're doing heavy equipment, there's those struggles with parts. There's a struggle with waiting, downtime. I know that the heavy equipment guys, they're going out to a field to go look at something. They're like, well, stuck here. I'm going home. And
Yeah.
I'll wait for parts to show up. You get a cat. Usually, it's pretty good. They're available. The parts are available pretty quick on those. You get a Komatsu. It's like, well, I don't know. I might have to wait a week for it. You get a Hitachi or I forget the other name of the other one. Some of the other skid steers. You're waiting weeks for parts, and that thing just sits. Like that's a piece of equipment that's going to make this guy some money.
yeah.
Like just waiting on stuff. Damn, that's going to be the hardest part. Then or bringing something in that's crashed. Like I'm gonna move that USPS truck out of that bay. I'm gonna put another crash truck in there. And there that bay's dead again. Like
Yeah.
we got a couple PMs coming in. Where am I putting them? You start running out of real estate really quick.
Yeah.
But you can't. You want to bring the work, and you don't want these guys waiting. Well, they want their truck back, but you got to kind of make that flow through the shop. You got to make everything, line it all up, figure it all out.
Then there'll be times when you'll have one but two trucks sitting because parts are not available for them or whatever. And they got two trucks sitting.
Actually, get that right now.
Yes, that's right. You did say that.
I got another one. I got a Hino. I got a 195 Hino right now with the regen system out of it. No,
Like, what do you do in those cases?
the truck only has 160,000 miles on it, but the SCR system is completely crumbling. Like, all right, it's got a code for it. It's coming apart, and the only available piece for that 2015 is from the dealer. The DOC and the DP and the DPR, and he knows DPR. It's one unit. It's $8,000 for that thing. The SCR just came back. We had to try to have it cleaned. It's junk. It's be $15,000 to fix this guy's truck.
Holy cow!
Like, how much do you love it? It's 10 years old. And the aftermarket's not touching that system, so you have to buy it through the dealer. Dude, it's a lot of money. Like, now this guy's gonna have to be like, well, now I gotta. What do I want to do? I don't know if I want to keep this truck or if I'm going to spend that kind of money and invest back into it. What do you do? It's a tough call. Spend $15,000 on a 10-year-old truck. Do I do that and keep moving? Or, I mean, what's the cost of a brand new one? It's still, it's a Hino cab chassis. That's a lot of money too. Like, all right. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd take the best chances. Maybe put it back together again. Turn the light off and send it down the road and say, hey, let me know how it goes. And I'll get you some time out of it if I can. But man, it's just tough. You got to do again, best practices. We already had it in and we got time into it. You got to pay for the time. I think that's another tough thing to do is telling your customers you need diag time. You need time just to get into it.
Yeah.
Same thing with you guys. You got a crash that's come in. You can't open the hood. They want an estimate. Can't get the hood off, and you're going to pay me. You got to pay me to take the hood off first, and we'll give you an estimate after we take the hood off.
Yeah, we try to drill it in as best as we can, and they're pretty good about it here. But there are times when they don't take into accountability the collision access time or how long it's really going to take, and they might just like write it in 1-2 hours, but in reality, when has something that's ever come to with a significant wreck been that quick?
Yeah,
it's never been that quick.
It's never quick. It's never. It's usually it's on the insurance companies end too. Those guys know how to drag their feet.
I think I'm not pointing blame on any specific company, but insurance companies are a bane to this problem of estimated time to product delivery. What we do, because they just don't want to pay. They'll take all the money they want. As soon as it comes to covering you, they don't want to pay a dime.
There's a couple of big companies. I'm not going to name them, but there's a couple of big companies that they just don't want to pay for factory parts on the automotive side. I was also in that. I was in a body shop for a few years, and there's we had a certain Suburban come in. It was crashed, and they were like, "Yeah, go get junkyard lower control arms." I'm like, I can't sleep at night knowing I've done that. I'm not going to. They're like, "Well, that's all we're paying." And the guy went to leave. I'm like, I'll tell you what, you're going to call that your customer, your client, and you're going to tell them what you're doing. Don't tell me it's not my truck. Like, you're going to tell them, let me get her on the phone for you, and you're going to explain to Mrs. Smith or whoever that you're only going to pay for junkyard parts on her 2-year-old truck because it's just outside what you claim to be the factory part. What your factory parts. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Why would you do that? It's unsafe.
Yeah.
It's big game. It's a big game.
Yeah.
No matter what industry you're in. And it can be tough at times.
And going back to it, just to double click on what I said earlier about loving this place and what the entire years, I think we have forged such an integrity amongst the majority of us, like you, Miguel, any others, that doing the job the correct way is probably something that we can hold proud here, because we want stuff done the right way. We're not just gonna take it with mud and send it down the road, or if insurance companies don't want to pay for it, we're just like, okay, well, we're just going to find the easiest way around it. Now, if it leaves here, I'm speaking for myself. I want it to be as close to factory as possible because my father was a truck driver. Someone else's father's probably driving this truck. I want to make sure he's safe.
Yeah,
Make sure
yeah, for sure.
if he does get into a wreck, he's going home with his family.
Right.
Granted, it's not very, very bad wreck, but structural integrity, that's something to definitely pay attention to.
Yeah,
Get it
without
done
a doubt.
right. There's a reason they're built this way. So you just tack it and mud it.
Yeah.
Where's the tensile strength?
No,
So-
it's nowhere. Right on. Yeah, man. Well, I gotta say, this was interesting. I
It was
love
nice.
I love hearing what you guys are up to, where you're coming from,
Thank you.
and I don't think I asked you yet. What's your plan? What's your goal? What's your goal? Where you want to go?
So I think I want to stay here at Ace, but I do feel like something inside me wants me to just maybe get my toes wet a little bit with the diesel mechanic side of trucks.
Yeah, go a little deeper.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. Well, I still have a lot to learn in the body shop side as far as
You've come a long way though in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I
Really quick climber.
feel like thank you, and I just feel like at one point I want to learn diesel. I feel like
Yeah.
just it just it's something there that just kind of gives me that drive to like step in there and just start angling with stuff.
Stop playing around with it and start
Yeah.
figuring out how it ticks and stuff.
How and I mean I've always heard that like you can't let a diesel truck or truck or 18 wheeler run out of diesel because then try to get them to like get the system out, get the air out of the diesel system.
It could be a
burp
pain. You have to be
So-
able to take your filters off, and
certain
it's-
stuff like that. I'm like, you
that's
know
a
what?
whole can of worms. You
Yeah.
got guys that don't even know how to barely open their hood these days.
Yes.
I've said it. I said it years ago. The day of the trucker is dead. We got a bunch of people out there just holding the wheel and going down the road. And,
Yeah.
and it's they're so worried about carrying their lunch with them, but they don't worry about carrying tools.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't go anywhere in my truck without a complete set of tools. It's
Yeah.
It's
It's
to get,
needed.
and at least to get your filters off, especially in
Yeah.
winters in Boston. You're gonna gel up. You're gonna put some diesel on. You're gonna put something in there, some 911 in it to get it going again. Fuel doesn't gel up, or if you run out. I actually, there's a video on YouTube, and I ran out of fuel on top of a landfill, and my dad had to come and bail me out, bring me 5 gallons of fuel and a strap because I couldn't find my strap for my oil filter.
Oh,
Fuel
shit.
filter, excuse me, fuel filter. And we had to fill it up and get it going again and put a little fuel in there. And in front of everyone I knew, and the operators just like over the radio. I had to listen to that on Channel 5. Like, and I'm like,
I can't.
I'm
I
out
want to.
I'm out of fuel. I don't know what to tell you. I'm out of fuel, man. And he's like, well, that's a stupid place to run out of fuel. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I meant to park it here. This is where I want to be right now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and God, I remember that day well. I'll never forget it. My brother coming to get me on the side of Route 3, southbound or northbound. I think it was southbound. I was so close. I made my 3rd run to Connecticut, and I was coming back, and I'm like, I'm on fumes, and I'm like, I'm gonna make it, and I'm like 2 exits away from to get off the highway, and I'm like, no. Oh, and I just grabbed my phone. I'm like, Mike, can you bring me like 2 gallons of fuel? He's like, don't even tell me you ran out again. And I'm like, I ran out again.
Sorry.
Side of Route 3. And he's just like, you're such an idiot. And I'm like, look, I was trying to make it back from Connecticut on a 3rd run. You can't do 3 loads in this truck. The tanks are too small. I'm like, yes, thank you. I know that now.
I was trying to.
Yeah, I was trying. I was right there. He's like, yeah, well, actually, if you had stopped at the Dunks and Route 6, you could have got a little bit of fuel and nice coffee. You would have made it. I'm like, yeah, I know. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I live my life on the edge.
Yeah. But I used to throw myself under the bus all the time. So I got videos out there of me throwing myself under the bus.
That's fun.
I was really good at it. So
Hey, take pride
Yeah.
in learning.
Hey.
man.
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
If everyone just puts all their
Good
gold out
content.
there, like, look at me, pat yourself
Yeah.
on the back. Oh, I put videos out there. Look, that's what I did today. guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just blew a tire out, and I'm gonna change it. And yeah, it's pretty dumb. I ran something over. Totally sorry, ran it over. There, tire. But this was cool, man.
Yeah,
you guys,
really
hanging out
was.
with you guys and
Really was,
getting a little story on you. That was.
Cool.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Hoping that maybe after we have a little more experiences together and all that, and we'll come back on here and we'll do it again.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
If you like my dad's video, maybe consider liking, sharing it with your friend if you really feel like it, or follow along for the entire journey. You never know.